Tonight, tragic escalator accidents are all too common. In our special investigation, we'll show you how to keep yourself and your children safe from harm. Also, a consumer group names the top 10 worst supermarket foods for your health. And one shopper is haunted by old bills from the store that bit the dust years ago. Everybody, I'm Janice Lieberman, and welcome to Steals and Deals. We are the scam and rip-off show of record, along with the rest of the consumer news you can use every day. Up first, escalators. You've ridden them before, probably without thinking, and why should you? They take you where you want to go. But in our special report on the safety of America's escalators, Bob Pisani is here to show you why you should watch your step. Bob?
Hi, Jan. You know, people should realize that an escalator is a very large piece of moving machinery that could maim or even kill. Unfortunately, the little boy you'll meet shortly learned that the hard way. We must warn you that portions of this story are very graphic. A horrifying event 4 years ago has changed this little boy's life forever. Today, 6-year-old Donovan Harper is still trying to regain use of his fingers.
He has a problem with writing. He can't write for long periods of time. His hands begins to hurt. He still can't tie his shoes. He has problems buttoning.
Portions of his fingers were chewed off after Donovan fell while riding this escalator in a Detroit convention center. Unfortunately, his tragedy was not an isolated incident. In 1994 alone, 17,000 people were injured in accidents related to escalators and elevators. Most were falls, but a terrifying 25% occurred when people found themselves caught in the sides of the escalator mechanisms. That's what happened to Donovan Harper. The gaps in this escalator were large enough to fit a pencil into and large enough to trap and shred his fingers. These photographs are graphic evidence of what happened when other people were caught in the mechanical jaws of an escalator. Toes severed, a hand mangled, a leg ripped wide open.
Escalators are inherently dangerous.
Hubert Hayes is an elevator and escalator inspector and has been evaluating the industry for the past 40 years. We asked him to check some New York City area escalators for potential hazards.
As you can see this shot here, you can see a broken step thread right against the step skirt. The step skirt and step clearances are very critical. That is one of the most dangerous parts of an escalator where the most entrapments will happen. As you can see, there's broken pieces on the front of the steps which can help create an entrapment. That means your foot is going to be caught in an area. If you're wearing sneakers or sandals, a sandal would be pulled down underneath the step, possibly your foot.
All too often, that foot belongs to a small child. Children are the most common victims of escalator accidents. There is a voluntary industry code designed to protect people from injuries, but one escalator inspector who sits on the code committee says that code is inadequate.
The question is why the code hasn't adopted some safety standards that would improve safety and reduce injuries. I'm at a total loss to understand it from purely a business point of view.
If you can come up with something that you think is the greatest thing in the world, we take it under very serious consideration.
George Strakosh is vice chairman of the committee that writes the industry's voluntary safety code.
Practically every meeting there's another proposal for some improvement in the aspects of escalators. But there's always someone that says, okay, I can do it better, you know. Better is what?
Here's a safety device that the New York City Transit Authority is successfully using. It's designed to keep feet from coming into contact with the dangerous gap between the wall and the step. It's been a mandatory feature in all escalators in England for the past 15 years and has dramatically reduced escalator injuries there. But it's rarely used in the U.S. and is not recommended by the industry code. Critics say the brushes stick out too far from the wall and are not in compliance with that code. Even so, the New York City Transit Authority hails the device.
We had 9 side entrapments prior to the brushes being installed on escalator 244 at Lexington 53rd. And since we had the brushes installed, There has been absolutely no entrapments on the side.
There are other innovative safety solutions as well. These escalators in New York City have written signs and broadcast a message warning passengers.
Escalators are for passengers only.
And in Washington, D.C., the escalators at the Smithsonian have painted outlines where people should be standing and a red danger zone near the edges. Steps like these are making a few escalators safer. But in the meantime, Donovan Harper and his mother say they're too afraid to ever ride one again. Now, Donovan Harper recently received over $1 million from the city of Detroit. The city told us that settlement is not an admission of liability. Donovan also received a smaller amount from the escalator's manufacturer, who declined to comment for our story. Jen, after looking at escalators for now several weeks, I've concluded that generally most people ride them very safely, but they need to be very careful because the injuries can be very severe, as you saw. People need to walk in the middle. They need to keep their coats away from the edges. They need to step up very clearly at the very edge, because that's where a lot of accidents occur, right where the teeth are. And most importantly, they need to hold the hands of children very carefully. Donovan fell down forward, and unfortunately, you saw what happened.
All right, and tomorrow?
Tomorrow we'll be talking about elevators. How safe are elevators? We'll be doing a two-part series for that.
Thanks very